Okay, everywhere I look at modern politics relating to the freedom movement, I see people getting all bitchy and scratchy about this, that, and the other, trying to fight the war against their central government to try and make it work right. To a large degree, their efforts are legitimate, and I agree with them. There's huge, gross over institutionalization, over centralization of our world. But in my opinion, one of the most powerful things, or the best thing we can do to fight against that effect, to market libertarianism, if you like, or freedom to the world, is to create a really good example of how things could be and how we possibly might want to make things. And I've done this in the most simple form I can with a couple of article things that I'm going to quickly go over. And this one is called The Socialism We Need. Let me read it to you. Everyone says socialism doesn't work, and for good reason. On the national scale, it has thus far proven to be a disaster. Okay, we all know that. Yeah. However, there is a model of socialism of sorts that does work that we can look at today. Cruise ships. Operationally, a cruise ship is a private, small economy that's centralized. Cruise ships are efficient. The idea is to build a cruise ship of sorts on the land. The following gives the key differences. Okay, excuse me. 1. Low density and highly economical to build. 1 2-story structures everywhere. Okay, costs a tiny fraction of an actual cruise ship. Okay, the people who live in it also own it. So, like the central facilities, tennis court, cafes, whatever, that's all it's like a public library, so everybody owns it collectively. It's like primarily a public service. It's not commercial. Okay, so you purchase like the shares in the general facilities along with the house and the land package. The residents are also the workers, usually, when you can use internal labour. Another one, number 4, it has its own currency. Like a casino, you buy and sell e-chips via a phone app, which are then used for trade within the development. So it's like buying tokens on your phone. Basically, these developments that I'm proposing are really just like big, collectively owned clubs. Okay, they're not a commercial economy. And the whole idea of having your own currency really is so you can buy and sell in a informal sort of a way. So it's just like, when you pay the next door neighbour to babysit your kids $20 for the night or something like that. It's not taxed, it's not regulated, it's really a part of the domestic economy, and that's what these things are. They're a private domestic economy. Okay, highly unregulated, no minimum wages, that's what I'm saying before. Local taxes and even building codes, etc. are set by the collective within the development. It's a private economy. Yep, just to make that super clear. Okay, the economy, like a cruise ship, would and should be strictly residential, not commercial. I'm repeating myself. It cooks, cleans, educates, and transports, etc. But for the most part, it does not make and sell to the commercial economy. Again, it's one way to look at it is, where does the government end in its intrusion? For the most part, it ends at our home. I believe that boundary needs to extend further into a residential club of about 120 houses or something like that, and 300 to 400 people. That will be a good size. You can go bigger or smaller, whatever you want to do, of course, but that's my suggestion, that's my model to give you the idea. Okay, and the developments have nothing directly to do with the wider market. They are more of a collectivized extension of the home. Okay, the effect is you get very cheap housing, local life amongst your kind of people. It's a private club. You choose who does and does not come into that development. Okay, so if you don't want criminals and crazies moving in next door and everyone agrees, hey, we don't really want that kind of a scene in this place, close the door on them. They don't have to come in. Just like your home, that's where maybe politically correct opinions take a back seat and you bring in people that you do like and people that you don't like. They stay out, and you don't have to answer to your decision because it's nobody's business but yours. Freedom of disassociation is as important as freedom of association. Okay. Unfortunately, my computer is failing me. Here we are. Sorry, I've got to replace this. It also provides a protective barrier for the residents in case of economic problems in the wider free market society, which is another one of the reasons, why it can be a good idea to operate a private currency within the development. If inflation goes crazy, which it's already doing right now, and it can get so much worse, you can go to hyperinflation. But if inflation goes crazy, then the private currency will still allow people within the development to work together efficiently. If built from the ground up, it can employ electric driverless technology instead of traditional cars within the development, like a horizontal elevator. Try to imagine it. Try to imagine all the roads in your suburb right now being reduced to a 2-meter wide, one-way golf cart track for a fully automated. You can buy this technology off the shelf for a fully automated and fully covered golf cart that goes straight from the parking lot outside your development, immediately outside your development, to your house. What that gives you is just, well, for a start, it's very cheap to build. It's way cheaper than roading, and it gives you a beautiful environment, very, very garden, super green, like a lifestyle atmosphere, and no traffic noise. So you get natural sounds rather than other. So it's a very cheap way and a very low impact way to make a very, very beautiful environment. I don't know why we're not doing this already. Catalina Island already operates like that. They only allow golf carts in their small contained area. Everybody loves it. Why aren't we repeating a winning formula? Okay. Competition with these developments before you freak out with the nasty word socialism. A cruise ship is still subject to the forces of competition. If they're not efficient and don't give customers what they want, they fail. And this is how it would be for land-based cruise ships, as I like to call them, as well. They must compete with alternatives, and this will keep them in check. So how about that? A socialist base that ensures prosperity and comfort where it matters the most, and without the plastic commercialism, a public library atmosphere, not a, forced smile commercial world atmosphere, yet at the right scale so people can always see clearly what's going on to keep their development in check and make sensible investment decisions. This, I believe, is where socialism can find its natural place, small scale and private, and highly autonomous. What about national scale socialism? Avoid it like the plague, needless to say. And I write down here a political note. If our society were made up of private suburbs of about 2,000 to 10,000 persons strong, and all of that, well, as I said before, it can still be 300-400 people, no problem, it would create an extremely powerful force to resist government overreach on the national level. On research, getting informed, for example, the academic groups within the cells, within the developments, would do their homework on government policy and communicate efficiently within their group, naturally having the ear of the local people who are more than just strangers to them. This real community effect holds government policy to account. It's far harder to propagandize a private group over a fragmented mass. And also, it becomes extremely hard for national governments to create intrusive policy that should really be left to private groups. Okay. And just some extra points I want to add to this. Right. So it's a solution to politics and social prosperity. The houses in these developments, if you've seen the good quality kit sets that are already being produced, and this is a serious growth industry right now in China, they break the houses down that you import and compress them into containers and transport it that way. So they're like fold out or like putting together a Lego house very quickly. When you build houses like that, you machine gun the costs right down. It's incredible. Vast savings. And if you allow people to build developments like this on the urban fringe, on rural cost land, not artificially price inflated land like we do in New Zealand today, then you can get a fantastic little home for as little as $200,000, including the land. And I don't know, maybe another $50,000 on top of that for the general facilities, depending on how extensive you want to make those general facilities. Right. Solution, yes. I also do a video on this called Choose Your World, which talks about the politics of this a bit. I'll link it to the end of this video. Okay, so the homes, although they wouldn't be mansions, around about the $200,000 mark, they will still be good-looking, really nice homes with big windows and beautiful views, like I expressed before, and in a peaceful and safe context. You know, the average person would love it, I'm sure. Okay. The money. How would the money work in this system? As I said before, it'd be just like an app. But basically, there'll be 3 types of payments in organizing the structure. Voluntary labor, easy to organize with an app. Using the internal tokens, the chips, if you like, which is no tax, no regulation, payment labor. It's like, using the next door neighbor to give you a hand, doing a cashier job, that sort of a thing. And then there's the other kind of purchasing, which is where you use external labor to the club. And of course, that's with the commercial economy, and that would be and should be taxed. So that's your expensive option at the end. Right, socializing. Okay. To stress, this is a club that I'm proposing. It's a co-op, not a commune. In a commune, there are prescribed duties and pressure to join in. Yuck. To my personal taste. You'll never find me in a commune, I can tell you. My model is voluntary participation with social opportunity. In this development, where are you going to get your best social opportunity? We're human. Eating. Food. Now, in the eatery, the rent would be extremely low because you're building on rural cost land and it's not a commercial development. Again, just like a big public library. So the rents are low, and it would mostly run on internal labour, maybe even largely voluntary labour. And not only that, but in the development, you can even use your own giant veggie patch and mini orchard to supply the food, which makes it fantastic. And the final result is the eateries cost half as much, or even less than that, than conventional eateries. It's a great place to socialise, and because they cost half as much and are very high quality, people should be attending them almost certainly a heck of a lot. Like if you build these developments, you might find you have to go quite hard building extra eateries. You need to create land where there's room for expansion, because with these kind of price variances and the whole nature of it, you don't know how popular any one thing or the other is going to be. So you've got to build the first ones with flexibility until we know how the markets react with that sort of thing. But that's how you create a good social buzz zone. You don't do it by telling everybody they have to join in some kind of hippie cult. Okay, you do it by creating great social opportunities so they incidentally get to know each other. Okay, and that's good. Social opportunity is very important. And another thing with these developments, because they slam the cost of living so well, and believe you me, they would, people are under less pressure. They don't have to work so hard. They've got time to socialize. Just time is such a huge factor. So it can really improve living standards on the levels that really, really matter. And the other advantage, I've already quickly went on about this, for socializing, so important, is it's gated. Okay? You can be as snobby as you want, have whatever regime you want, but it's so important to keep the nasty factors out of your development, because as soon as you've got people walking down your street going, "What are you looking at?" You know what I mean? And being scary and making you feel unsafe about letting your kids go play on the street and all that sort of thing. It's poo in the punch bowl. You don't want to drink it. It's so important to be able to gate the nasty factor, the intimidating factor, the morbid, depressing people out of it for people who don't want that. I've expressed this idea with a lot of people just casually in conversation. And what I find interesting is that, before you call me a snob, the people who are most enthusiastic, I find, about gating and giving this gating opportunity are not the middle class or people who've got a bit more money, because they're naturally gated anyway. They keep the nasty component out because the nasty component can't afford to get into their developments, into their neighbourhoods. It's the poor people who really value being able to do that, because they're the ones that need the direct power to block those people, because they otherwise haven't got the money to get away from them. So it's not about snobbery. It's about taking care of people. Right. But that's what we need to do, I believe. I think it's a great missing link, the private suburb. We need to expand the autonomy of the home into the small village, which is a co-op, not a commune, where people can choose to live amongst their kind of people. Smash the cost of living in half. Wonderful place to relax and enjoy yourself at the same time. A bit like a holiday park, I suppose. And although it wouldn't be a commercial economy, it would be a domestic economy. Don't tell me it can't work. Take a look at cruise ships. Cruise ships are very, very efficient. The only difference is that the people run their little cruise ship on land themselves. Do you think it's a good idea? Check out Choose My World for further on it. But this, I believe, is where we can really move forward and prove to the world how little we need all this intensive centralization in the control of our lives. And you may only need to build one development to showcase the idea, and prove the idea to the entire world, and get everybody talking. Thank you.